This month's creative writing session is based on the title, The Storm. Begin to build the outline of a description based on the title. You might also want to use some of the images on the screen to help you to build your ideas. Consider who you are, what's happening, when this is happening, and where you are. As a challenge, consider what turn you want to create here. Pause your video and note down some initial ideas. Now that you've got the context of your writing, mind map some words and phrases linked to the idea of a storm. Try to build this in as much detail as possible. For example, I've started off with the wind, the idea that it might be howling, raging, gusts, powerful, disruptive. The more detail that you have on this mind map, the more vivid the imagery in your writing will be. Pause the video while you do this. We're now going to have a look at a poem called Storm on the Island. As we read, think which words or phrases stand out to you, and how does the writer effectively present the storm? You might also like some of the phrasing in here and choose to take this and incorporate it in your own writing. Storm on the Island. We are prepared. We build our houses squat, sink walls in rock and roof them with good slate. The wizened earth has never troubled us with hay, so, as you see, there are no stacks or stucks that can be lost, nor are there trees which might prove company when it blows full blast. You know what I mean? Leaves and branches can raise a tragic chorus in a gale, so that you listen to the very thing that you fear, forgetting that it pummels your house too. But there are no trees, no natural shelter. You might think that the sea is company, exploding comfortably down on the cliffs. But no, when it begins, the flung spray hits the very windows, spits like a tame cat turned savage. We just sit tight while the wind dives and strafes invisibly. Space is a salvo. We are bombarded by the empty air. Strange. It is a huge nothing that we fear. Thinking about the poem, look at the language that's being used to present the storm. And how does the writer effectively present the storm? So you might have picked out the contrast between the calmness at the beginning, where the poet feels prepared, the suddenness of the storm. It's all nice and calm until it blows full blast, which takes us by surprise. We have the similes such as the tame cat turned savage. We've got lots of violent verbs here, such as pummels, exploding, bombarded. Think about why some of that phrasing is so effective, and also how you can use or adapt some of these ideas in your own writing. Now return to your mind map and begin to expand this with more detail and figurative language techniques. When we're writing a description, it's our aim to show, not tell. That means that we need to create vivid imagery for our reader so that they can actually imagine that they are in the situation. Some of the ways we might do this is by including sensory imagery. So not just explaining what we can see, but thinking about incorporating some of the other senses, what you can feel, what you can hear. Think about using lots of powerful and specific adjectives and adverbs. Can you develop some of these into similes and metaphors? You might want to think about using some personification, or even better for the idea of a storm, some zoomorphism. Now, personification is where we give something that's not human qualities. Zoomorphism is where we give something that's not human, that's not an animal, animalistic qualities. Now, this could be really good for a storm because we could present the storm as some wild and untamed beast. Another technique that we can use is alliteration and onomatopoeia. And we might want to think about how we can use our language to create a specific tone. Pause your video and expand your mind map with some figurative language techniques and more sensory details. Now that you have your detailed notes and you have thought about how the poet in Storm on the Island uses language to present the storm in his poem, can you write your description of a storm? Aim to create vivid imagery in your writing. Include the senses and figurative language. And remember, with description, more is more. We want to be as detailed as possible. As a challenge, try to create a specific turn in your writing and try and include some contrast. That contrast might be a calmness before the storm and then the sudden violent storm. Or it could be the other way around. You could drop your reader straight into the action of the storm, and then you could have the aftermath after the storm has passed. Pause your video and complete your description. This session is a recorded version of one of my free lesson Fridays that I do monthly for home educated students. You can find details of next month's live session on my Ko-fi page, and the recordings will be added to YouTube each month.